a moment right now and give him some praise tonight. He has brought me through too much. He has brought me through too much to turn back. The presence of the Lord that I feel in this place tonight. I preached this past Wednesday about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Even though they had to go through some fire in their life, the hand of God was beside them to lead them through. And you will go through trial after trial in your life, but yet Jesus is waiting for you to touch it. He's waiting with open arms tonight for you to just grab on. And his healing touch will be there, and he will lead you through every storm and every trial that you may face. As we go into prayer tonight, remember comfort for the Ann Connolly family, as well as Sister Nancy Starkey and family. For healing, continue to remember Sister Regina Todd, the family of Shannon C. And for other unspoken, continue to pray for victory over this COVID-19. Blessing on Israel and blessings on the United States. If you have a need tonight, I believe that the Lord is in this place. We've already seen his presence moving in this house, and I believe something can happen in his midst. And if you believe that with me, would you let these elders come and anoint you, praying, believing that God is going to do something in your life tonight. Lord, we love you and we thank you in this house, Jesus. God, we pray for your miraculous power to fall in this house. God, we pray for healing in bodies, God. We pray for healing in mind, Lord Jesus. God, we pray that you touch finances during this time. And God, I pray, Lord Jesus, that your hand be on this country during this time. That your hand be on this world during this time. In the name of Jesus, I claim comfort and peace and strength to every family. In the name of Jesus, I pray. And I thank you, Lord, for what you're going to do. In Jesus' name.
to tell how much I appreciate our dear friends coming all the way from Ravenswood to be with us and help us tonight. I'd like to ask if those of our church, if you'll be seated, and those from First United Pentecostal Church of Ravenswood, if you'll remain standing. Look, folks, how many of our friends have come to help us tonight. I'd also like to say that we're so thankful to see we have several here tonight that this is your first time back out to church since the closure. And I'd like to ask you to just join us in making them feel welcome, make everybody feel welcome here tonight. It always blesses my heart to see Brother Marcus and his family. And we love you. We love you. Amen. Praise God. My whole heart smiled when he came in, and he came right up here and looked right at the singers and said, "I love you," to the singers. My whole heart smiled when he did that. That's just so wonderful. And if Brother Billy Cole was here tonight, he would just be having a wonderful time. I miss him. If you'll allow us to do things a little differently tonight, normally maybe at this time, usually, we would be doing an offering and we would be fellowshipping with one another. And if you'll allow me tonight, I'd like to postpone that off toward the end of the service and get right into the Word of God. And I want to ask you if you will join me in welcoming our precious friend. He is a district presbyter, serves on the district board of the West Virginia and Western Maryland district, and he is my lifelong friend and a great friend to this church. And we are friends to him and to his church. In fact, we're more than friends. We're family to each other. And we are so thankful, Pastor David Johnston, for you being here tonight. Let's get our Bibles, and would you join me in giving him a great, big Christian Apostolic Church welcome as he
Let's give the Lord a great big hand clap of praise. Could we do that? Lord, we thank you for what we feel tonight. The power of the Holy Ghost. Thank you for your presence, for your glory, for your anointing. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Amen. You may be seated. Thank you, Brother Joseph. We're back in Clarksburg. That's pretty awesome. It is a treat for us to be here tonight. Now, you've got to know, this is our first time back in a church service. So we're with you. And my, it feels good in here. It feels so good in this place. I feel the presence of God. I feel a wonderful spirit of worship that's here tonight. And I want to echo what Brother Joseph said. You know, sometimes you're friends with people that aren't friends with you. And not only are we their friends, they are our friends. And very dear friends. We've known them for a long time. I knew Brother Joseph before I was even married, so that's over 30 years ago. And I know I don't look that old. I just had a birthday. Gavin's birthday was yesterday. My birthday was the day before. And we're pretty close. And thank you, brother. Maybe in the way we act, we're pretty close. But man, I feel the Lord in this place. I've not only got friends up here, I got friends out here. Yes. When we walked through the door back there, I said, man, here they all come running and greeting us. And I said, man, I'm at home. I am at home in Clarksburg. So So if I ever need another place to go, I'm coming here. It's a good place to be. I want to thank my wonderful wife for being here tonight. I love this lady. I just basically support her ministry. I'm just here just to kind of back her up. But I'm so thankful that God put us together 30 years ago, and we're still on the trail together. It's good to have my family with us. So glad to have them come and be with us tonight. I appreciate them being here. Two of them are getting ready to give us our first grandbaby.
All right.
August. August 3rd is when our grandbaby's due, and that's coming up real close, and we are super excited about that, and can't wait for that to happen. And you're gonna see that baby all over Facebook. We're gonna show off that baby, and we're just thankful to have Kelsey in our family. Her and Nick have been married. How long have you been married now? To almost 2 years. And so thankful for her added to our family. Now, I'm not going to mention any names, but some of those back there are single. And if the Lord would so move, I will pay for that later, trust me. I will pay for that later. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. I feel Jesus in this place. I asked Sister Joseph to lead us in a chorus before we go into the Word, because you don't want me leading. But it's just that chorus that says, I feel Jesus in this place. If you haven't felt him yet, it's only because you haven't opened your heart. All you got to do is reach out to him. Just open yourself up and allow the presence of God that's in this place to touch you tonight. Let's sing it.
I feel Jesus.
Oh, yes.
I feel
Feel you, Lord.
Jesus. I feel Jesus in this place. As my soul
time. I feel you, Jesus. I feel you, Jesus. If you have a need tonight, Jesus is in this place. Everything you need is here. Oh, yes. Thank you, Jesus. Now let's give the Lord some praise. Just lift your voice, lift your heart, lift your hands, give the Lord praise. Oh, we love you, God. We praise you, God. We magnify you, God. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Glory to your great name, Jesus. Hallelujah, 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 Jesus. Oh, yes. Hallelujah, hallelujah. If you would grab your Bibles to the book of Job tonight, 2 verses in the 26th chapter. You folks are just awesome. You are absolutely awesome. I'm going to take it. You're the awesomest. You really are. You've got an awesome pastor and pastor's wife. You never go wrong being loyal to your pastor and your pastor's wife. Never go wrong supporting them, encouraging them, and lifting them up, praying for them every day, every day. Excuse me. 2 verses. Job 26. Get started right. Verse 8 and verse 9. The Bible says, he bindeth up the waters in his thick clouds, and the cloud is not rent under them. He holdeth back the face of his throne, and spreadeth his cloud upon it. He bindeth up the waters in his thick clouds. Cloud is not rent under them. He holdeth back the face of his throne, and spreadeth his cloud upon it. I want to preach to you tonight. I woke up in the middle of the night. God spoke to me about this message. And I want to preach to you beyond the struggle.
Praise God.
Beyond the struggle. Sometimes we don't realize there is a beyond what we're in. The Bible tells us that God appoints the times and God appoints the seasons. God determines what and when. Now that ought to encourage you right there. God determines the what and the when.
Praise God.
But there's always a beyond. So I want to preach to you tonight, beyond the struggle. Would you join me in prayer? Ask God to help me to minister to you tonight. Lord Jesus, God, in your precious name, Lord, I come in the name of Jesus Christ. I come in the authority of the power of the name of Jesus Christ. Stand in this pulpit tonight humbly before you, simply a vessel in the hands of God. Let the holy anointing of God be upon me. Let the power and the unction of God be upon me and upon this congregation. Send your word forth as precious seed. God, let it fall on good ground. Let it fall tonight, oh God, and let it bring forth fruit for the harvest. Lord, I pray it. I claim it. I believe it. I declare it. In the name of Jesus Christ. In the name of Jesus Christ. Hallelujah. Oh, that's it. One more time. Let's give the Lord a shout. Let's give him a shout of praise. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Oh, God, I worship you, Jesus. I praise your name, Jesus. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, Jesus. You may be seated. Now, you know this, I preach a whole lot better when you preach with me. And I don't preach as long if you preach with me. So that might, who said that? Amen. By the way, I don't want you to think I've got some kind of inflated ego up here that I have to have this really fancy washcloth. But I forgot my handkerchief. And so we stopped at Family Dollar, and what self-respecting Family Dollar doesn't sell handkerchiefs? I don't know. But I had to buy a washcloth. So if this tells you anything, it just tells you I preach hard and sweat a lot. That's all it is. So, amen. For several years, my daughter was a student at Fairmont University. And we made a whole lot of trips on Route 50. Am I the only one that seems when you're on Route 50, you're not going anywhere? I get on that road and I'm driving and I'm thinking, Lord, I hope it's still at the other end. Because that seems like the longest stretch of road, and I'm constantly looking for something to just try to keep me occupied while I'm driving Route 50. We would make several trips and we would bring her, especially after church on Sunday. She'd come home every weekend for church and we'd bring her home and we would probably grab a bite to eat at Muriel's. Can I get an amen? Yeah, I'm preaching now. We'd get a bite to eat and we'd hang around for a little bit until we absolutely had to let her off at the dorm, and then we would head back home. And on the way home one time, I remember driving, and as we were driving on Route 50, off in the distance was probably the most magnificent sunset I had ever seen. It had an array of blues and, excuse me, blues and reds, and just absolutely colors cascading across the sky. It was just absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. And I looked at my wife and I told her, I said, take a picture. Take a picture of that sunset. Finally, we saw something worth looking at on Route 50. Take a picture. Well, she fumbled around in her purse for a while. She never did find her phone. So I ended up driving down the road trying to work my camera, but I did eventually get some sort of a picture of that sunset. It was absolutely beautiful, breathtaking. I also remember other times dropping my daughter off, and it always, of course, you know, the sun sets west, so we were driving Route 50 again, driving down the same road, driving through the same area, driving about the same time. And there was no sunset to be enthralled over. There was absolutely nothing there. There's no beautiful colors to look at. Actually, what I was doing about that time, I was complaining because the sun was so bright and it was blinding me as I was driving Route 50. Didn't mean I was going to miss anything on Route 50, but it was still hard to see. And so I was complaining and trying. I put my visor down, and that helped a little bit, but it was still so bright. Driving on Route 50, it was still very difficult to see, and just it just was irritating to me, and I kept grumbling about it because I was having difficulty driving, and so we just kept going. What was the difference? Same place, going to the same destination, the same time, the same road. What was the difference between the day that I was so overwhelmed by the sight that I had seen in the sunset and the day that I was complaining about not being able to look and not being able to see and complaining about the brightness of the sun shining in my eyes? It was all the same except one thing, and the difference was the clouds. There were no clouds that day. There were no clouds to get the sun out of my eyes a little bit. There was no clouds to filter the bright light, and there was nothing there that could create the color that so enthralled me when I was trying to take a picture of a sunset. Job said, he bindeth up the waters in his thick clouds, and the cloud is not rent under them, and he holdeth back the face of his throne. I don't have to tell you this because we've learned this over the past 5 weeks. We have learned that life is a struggle. We have learned that life can turn your world upside down in one newscast. We've learned that our lives can be changed, and we don't even know right now if it's going to go back to being the same as it was. That at times life is a struggle, and it's an effort to understand the nature of events. I did not see this happening in 2020. I always preach on the first Sunday at our church. I always preach a keynote message for the year. I always set the vision for the church on the first Sunday of January. And I preach, this is the year of revival. Well, I'm still preaching, this is the year of revival. And I'm still believing it's the year of revival. But I've got to tell you, in my vision for 2020, I didn't see anything in my future that had the word coronavirus in it. I didn't see anything in my future where we were locked in our houses and told we were safer if we didn't go outside. I didn't see anything in our future which said we couldn't have church on Sunday. I didn't see any of that happening. Sometimes it's hard to explain the events that take place in our lives in the 70 years that we are promised.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes it's difficult to understand the turns, the hills, the valleys that we encounter. But let me assure you one thing, that in your journey, clouds are always on the horizon. Let me assure you that in your life, there are always going to be some storm clouds somewhere forming off in the distance. There's always going to be a cloud that's going to block the sunshine of your day. There's always going to be a cloud that's going to come. You understand, my friend, life is a struggle. And sometimes the things that we face in life and sometimes the things we deal with, I wish I could sit in my office and explain to some parents, explain to some saints of God why certain things come, but I can't. It's beyond me. It's beyond my understanding. Job was so consumed with his trouble that in Job 9, he made the statement, if I had called and he had answered me, yet would I not believe that he had hearkened unto my voice. Job was so consumed, he said, for he breaketh me with a tempest and multiplieth my wounds without cause. He will not suffer me to take my breath, but filleth me with bitterness. Job with his own lack of understanding. Job with his own lack of trying to explain what's going on in his life. Job said, even if I called on God, I don't think he'd hear me. Even if God would answer me, I probably wouldn't even believe it. But let me assure you right now, God who sets the times and God who orders the seasons is not indifferent to you.
All right.
God who orders the day from the night is not uncaring and not uninterested and not unsympathetic. God knew and God knows what is coming your way, my friend. Let me assure you right now, let me assure you, you are not out of the sight of God. God knew how cruel life could be. God knew how difficult and how the choices of others would bring such distress into your life. God knew all of that. God knew all of that before, long before it ever came your way. Long before you ever sat down and tried to figure it all out. It would be nice if we could place our lives on cruise control and sit back and just go our way and enjoy the scenery without fear of an upcoming turn or a bump in the road. It would be nice if we could just coast our way through life. But my friend, that is not life. Life was never meant to be that way. That's why the Lord, in Luke chapter 4, reminds us that the Spirit of the Lord is upon him, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor, he said. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captive and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised. Whatever you're going through, God is not unmoved by your circumstance. God is not ignoring your circumstance. God is not overlooking you. God has not passed you by. I love what Isaiah wrote when he described him as a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. This is what he says of you in Isaiah's writing. Surely he hath borne or carried or lifted our griefs. Surely he carried our sorrows. Mental and emotional sorrows. Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions. He's talking about you and God. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. He says, I have already carried your griefs. I have already carried your sorrows. I have already carried your emotional stress. I have already carried the distress that comes in your life. I have already carried that. You know what that tells me? That God has already preceded me. That God God has already been there before you got there, that God knew about it, and God picked it up before it ever happened. You got to realize right now that God is standing in front of you, He's holding your sorrow. He's holding your grief. Oh, God's already been there. You may be right in the middle of the storm of your life, but you look around, there's some footprints you haven't seen yet because God's already been there. He was there before you got there. He was preparing the way for you before you got there so that you could make it. I love what the worship team's saying tonight. No turning back now. No turning back now. I'm going to wait on you, Jesus. Yes. You know, the fact is, he's waiting on you. He was already there. The Bible tells us in the darkness of night, in the middle of a storm, the disciples found themselves trying to figure out how to make it across the sea, doing everything that they knew to do. And they were rowing, and they were holding on, and they were bailing water as best and as quickly as they could. And the Bible says that the Lord saw them. He saw them in the midst of their rowing. He saw them in the midst of their toiling. He saw them in the midst of their struggle. He saw them in the midst of their problem. He saw them in the midst of what was going on in their life. Don't ever think God's indifferent to you. Don't ever think God's overlooked you. He saw them right there as they struggled. He saw them. A man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. He saw them. He sees you in your storm. And you see, not only has Jesus gone before you, but while they are toiling and while they are trying to row that boat, and while they are trying their best to get the water out of the boat, Jesus comes up behind them. Not only did he get there before you, he's following you. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. He is following you. He is coming behind you. He's ready to pick up the pieces of what went wrong in the storm that you're in. He's ready to pick up the pieces of what's left over when the storm is finished. He's ready to pick up. He's coming behind you. They were in another storm, the disciples in the ship. The Bible says Jesus is asleep in the boat. He's gone before us. He's coming up behind us. And he's with us in the boat. He's with us. He's following after. He's been there before. But can you understand right now, in your storm, what you felt here tonight in this place is God with you. What you felt when you reached out to him is God with you. What you felt burning on the inside of you is God with you. He is with you. Oh, it said he fell asleep. That just means he's comfortable with you in your storm. He's not shaken. He's not fearful. He's with you. Hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. And he arose up with them, stepped out on the edge of that boat and rebuked the storm and the raging water. And the Bible says they ceased because there's always a beyond your struggle. There's always a beyond your situation and your problem. Jesus came upon a man which was blind from birth, and his disciples wanting to understand, Master, why? Who did sin, this man or his parents? Why has this come upon him? Why is he enduring this? Who messed up in the middle of this that caused this man such grief? And Jesus very quickly answers, neither this man nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him. He's not, this storm that he's in and this problem that he has and this situation that he's enduring in life is not because he sinned. It's not because his parents sinned. It's so that God can get some glory. It's so that God's power, so that God's healing, so that God's will can be revealed in this man, because whatever it is that's beyond your storm is going to give glory to God. I'm a believer in the Word of God. I believe the Word of God, Genesis to Revelation. There's nothing in it I don't believe. I'm a believer in God, that God is good and that God is wise. I don't understand everything. I don't profess to understand everything. I don't understand a lot of trials I've faced in my life. There have been trials that have knocked me flat on my back. There have been trials that have put me, I would come home and I would crawl into bed in my suit because I was going through such a deep trial in my life. I went through such difficult times. I have been in situations I could not explain. I preached messages in a pulpit I absolutely believed and prayed, God, do this for me tonight. I have been in those situations, but I have come to understand that I may not have the understanding of the trial, but I understand that the season will end and that the glory will go to God. Folks, you got to understand, nobody can make this journey for you. Nobody can make this journey for you. No one could go through. I've sat in my office and I have sat there wishing I could take the pain that the precious saints of God that I love so much and pastor, that I could take their grief, that I could carry their sorrow. And God help me realize, why would you do it when I've already done it? Why would you go through that when I've already endured it? But no one can make the journey for you. I've seen faithful people of God, true saints of God, who give their all to the kingdom, who are faithful in everything that they do. I've seen tithe-paying people go through financial difficulty. I've seen folks who are faithful to church and faithful to their giving and faithful to labor in the church, and I've seen them go through tremendous sorrow. Over the past few years, I've either preached or participated in many funerals, and as far as I'm concerned, way too many funerals in the people I pastor that have affected families in our church. Some of them unexplainable, some of them hard to handle, some of them people still trying to deal with and trying to get over. The struggles that we endure and the grief and the sorrow, I wish I could carry it, but I can't. I can't do that. The miracle was not just in the journey that the blind man, there was a blind man that came to Jesus, and Jesus spit on the ground and anointed his eyes. And he put that mud on his eyes and he said, go wash in the pool of Siloam. See, the miracle wasn't just when he got to the pool and washed that he got his sight. The miracle was in the journey of a blind man getting to the pool. The miracle was in the blind man trying to navigate his way through the streets, past the carriages and the animals, the crowds of people, to get to the pool so that he could get his miracle. The miracle was not just in the washing. The miracle was in the man that trusted the one he could not see to make that journey. The miracle was that he trusted him with mud on his eyes, going through the crowds, doing whatever he had to do to feel his way. Have you ever been in a situation like that? I don't know which way to turn, I just gotta feel my way. I don't know what decision to make, I just gotta feel my way. See, the miracle was really in the journey to get there. We know God's a miracle God, and God could have healed him instantly at that moment, yet God sent him on a journey. He had to trust Jesus. He had to trust what he was told to do. He had to trust the God that had told him to go wash in the pool. He had to take step by step of faith to make it to that water so that God could do the miracle. This man knew and understood the affliction of vision, but he gained a new understanding of trust. He gained a new revelation of faith and walking by faith when you can't see, when you don't understand, when you can't explain, but you keep going and you keep walking in spite of all the stuff that's in front of you and in spite of trying to feel your way and make sure you're going the right way. He had to learn to walk by faith. It's in those moments we truly understand how much we need God. It's in those moments when we can't see that we understand without God, we would have no direction in our life. We had no one to put our faith in. We would have no one to trust. We would have nothing giving us direction to a miracle. But my friend, beyond the journey, beyond the walk, beyond the steps of faith was a miracle that would give God glory beyond it all. If you make the journey, you'll see. If you'll make the journey, you'll get your miracle. If you'll make the journey. If you'll just keep going beyond the struggle. I've never seen a person that has seen a sunset that first hasn't seen the sun. And I've never seen a person know a victory without first knowing the battle. And I've never seen a person without knowing love that didn't first know loss. And I've never known someone that's claimed a victory in their life without first having a trial. You don't get strong without hardship. And you don't feel the arms of grace without shedding some tears. But if you can get beyond the struggle, if you can get beyond struggle. Luke 24 said, he said unto them, O fools, and slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Ought not Christ to have suffered, to have struggled these things, and to enter into his glory? He was saying without the struggle, there would be no glory. Beyond struggle is glory. Beyond the cross, who endured the cross, beyond the cross is glory. What's beyond your struggle? There's glory. What's beyond your trial? There's glory. What's beyond your trouble? There's glory. What's beyond what you're going through right now? There is glory. God has said it beyond your struggle. God has said it beyond your trial. The Bible says that in the year King Uzziah died, he said, beyond that, beyond the grief and the agony of Isaiah's friend, King Uzziah, beyond what had happened, he said, if I'm going to start this story, I'm going to start it right. I'm going to tell you it started at a funeral. It started with a death, but beyond that, beyond the death of King Uzziah, he said, I saw the Lord, and I saw him high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. But it was beyond the funeral service. It was beyond the cemetery. It was beyond the death. The glory you're looking for and the glory you're expecting, it's there, but it's beyond. The glory that God's wanting to give you and the answer that God's wanting to give you is beyond. Moses walked off of the mountain and he walked into a people that were celebrating and partying, and they were returning back to the ways of Egypt after he had come off Mount Sinai. And he got to the point, he sat out before God after all of that, after he threw down the tables of stone, he sat down before God and he said, if you don't go with me, I'm not going. Show me thy glory. But it had to come. It had to come when Moses walked off that mountain into a mess of a nation. Job said, come on up, sister. Job said, beyond the clouds is the throne of God. He said, God sets his throne beyond the clouds. The things that bring you trouble, the things that bring you distress, and the things that bring you pressure, and the things that bring you fear, and the things that turn your world upside down, and the things you don't understand. The clouds, that sun would be so bright, but there has to be some clouds, and those clouds create something that's so beautiful that you got to take a picture of it. Why? Because the clouds shade the very throne of Almighty God, and if you're looking for a closer walk with God, it's going to be beyond the clouds. It's going to be beyond the struggle. If you're looking for revival, it's beyond the struggle. If you're looking for an outpouring of the Holy Ghost, it's beyond the struggle. What the devil means to destroy you, God uses to advance you. What the devil thinks will silence your voice, God uses to strengthen your message. What the devil uses to destroy your faith, God uses to take you to a new dimension.
Praise God.
What the devil uses to hinder the church, God uses to expand the church. Beyond the struggle, who would have thought that a persecuted church, 8 chapters into the book of Acts, would have walked into a city held captive under demonic witchcraft. But yet in the city of Samaria, one deacon, not even an apostle, one deacon walks into that city, starts talking faith, starts laying hands on the blind and eyes are open, starts taking the hands of the lame that start walking. Demons are cast out. Beyond the struggle is the glory. Be careful not to resent your struggle, because your struggle is God's vehicle to move you forward. It's God's vehicle to release things on the inside of you. It's God's vehicle to get you blindly walking through the streets so that you can make your way to a miracle. It's God setting you up. It's God ordering your steps. It's God setting seasons and times. It's God. The devil's not in control of your season. God is. The devil's not in control of your time. God is. How'd you stand to your feet right now? Beyond your struggle. How if you could just see with the eyes of faith right now what's waiting for you on the other side of your struggle. If you could see right now what God has for you on the other side. I'm telling you, God gave me this message for this church for tonight. God gave me this word in the middle of the night because God has set a time and a season. And God has set a valley, but beyond the valley is your mountaintop. And beyond that is a victory that I wish I could put into words, but it's unexplainable because it's God. And his ways are above my ways, and his thoughts are above my thoughts. Oh, if you could get a hold of it right now, if your faith could reach out into the beyond, can your faith right now rise up on the inside of you and claim your miracle? I want to call this church. I want every member of this assembly to make your way to the front of this building right now. I want to call you out tonight and ask you to come up here in the name of Jesus, because God has loosed a word in your heart tonight. God has spoken into your life tonight. For beyond this, you've got to reach. You've got to see. Beyond this, there's greater. Beyond this, there's a miracle in the making. Beyond this. As you get up here, as you make your way up here, I just want you to start throwing your hands in the air. I want you to start responding with some faith and say, God, give me eyes of faith that I can look beyond. Hallelujah. That's it. That's it, saint of God. That's it, Mom. That's it, Dad. Come on. Oh, you've labored here. And God is sending you a promise.
Not knowing how we'll get
Yes. Yes.
holding on to
Come on, young person. Come on, young person. The fire. You got the fire in you. Reach out right now.
by surprise. You got things in control. Now we know you made a way. When our backs were against the wall and it looked as if it was over, you made a way. And we're standing here only because you made a way.
comfortable. I want you to move around right now, brother to brother, sister to sister. I want this church. I want you to pray for one another. Lay hands on one another. Pray in the Holy Ghost. Let the Spirit of God use you to minister to one another right now.
You
get a word from the Lord. I want to tell y'all what I told a couple of people earlier today and yesterday. Speaking from underneath the struggle, speaking from the midst of the day of adversity. I told a couple of folks, I said this, I'm thinking that Jesus didn't say, upon this rock, you will build my church. He said, upon this rock, I will build my church. And this is what I told him. That means I'm not the foreman. He is. And that means whatever struggle we're having now, the foreman was okay with it. And if he was okay with it, that means we can be okay with it. And I know sometimes when we're underneath the struggle and we're in the day of adversity, it's easy for us to listen to that devil whispering to us. It's easy for us to listen to our flesh saying, he doesn't know the way I'm taking. I'm lost. I'm off the path. Folks, Job said it this way, he knows the path that I take. Folks, we may be in a dark day, but we're not here without him knowing it. And I like what he preached. He's following up behind, he's waiting out in front, and he's in the middle of it with us. My goodness. Yes, ma'am. We're going to make it. We're going to make it. Look at a couple of neighbors and tell them, the foreman said this struggle was okay. The foreman said this was in his plan. Woo. My goodness. Folks, thank you, Lord, for sending our friends here to help us tonight. When Lazarus died, they all thought Jesus waited too late. They thought the foreman delayed too long before he brought the help. One precious friend even tried to scold Jesus. If you'd have been here. Folks, he was there. He was on the way, but he was already there, and he was already waiting at the resurrection on the other end. And he just said, if you can believe. How many of you would agree with me? Even on the darkest day, we can still believe. And that means it's going to be all right. I want to say again how excited we are to see you here. I'd like to also say a big thank you. During this whole closing of the services, we had some precious singers, precious musicians, precious audiovisual people that just stayed with it and helped us to provide a touch point of home worship experience by way of live stream. And haven't these singers and musicians and AV people done a fabulous ministry service to us here tonight? don't know that I can quote that verse exactly word for word, but it says something like this. If your strength fails you in the day of adversity, then your strength was weak. And the fact of the matter is that as long as we are relying on His strength, we're going to make it through any day of adversity. Look at your neighbor and tell him, I'm coming out. Yes, sir.
Just confirmed. Been sitting there trying to sit back. Sister Cindy said, I feel like preaching. Amen. But it's been an awesome service, and I'll just follow up with what Brother Johnston said. There's only a few things more beautiful than a sunset, but one of them might be the sunrise. And beyond the struggle goes through the night, but joy comes in the morning. Amen. You may struggle for the night, but what comes in the morning? Joy. Joy comes in the morning. And there's very little more beautiful than a sunset, but a sunrise is pretty close. And I just feel like that, and just like Pastor said, the sermon was on point. And I thank the Lord for Brother Johnston coming tonight and preaching.
If we'll pay attention, we can hear the voice of the shepherd. He said, my sheep know my voice. You can never get lost if you know the shepherd's voice. You can never get lost if you know the shepherd's voice. And if we'll pay attention, if we'll listen carefully, we can hear the shepherd's voice. I have heard his voice here tonight. Thank you, Lord, for coming our way tonight. Thank you, Lord, for not passing us by tonight, but meeting with us. Praise God. Amen. I know I told you we could postpone the offering and all of that. If you have some offering or some tithing to bring, feel free to bring it at this time. These singers will sing a little bit more. And come and bring your tithing and your offering. If you need to give online, you can give online at mycac.net/giving. Let's fellowship one with another and dismiss by way of the offering plate tonight. God bless you in Jesus' name. Let's be friendly as we dismiss tonight.